and it was later on the 14th of March when he was readmitted after still complaining of feeling unwell, and up until yesterday when we got the information about his passing. And as it stands, the now Vice President Ms. Samia Suluhu will be assuming presidency for the remainder of the late President Magufuli's term, which just started last year and will be running up until 2025. And this is according to the Tanzanian constitution. And of course, in light still to do with COVID-19, so many people, rumors have been circulating about the former president in regards to how he was managing this COVID-19 situation. Some criticizing him, some saying he knows what he's doing because he has always had the best interest of his population at heart. So we have been seeing your feedback in regards to what you are sharing on social media about the passing of the late Magufuli. We will keep sampling them as they come in. Right now, I can see RIP Magufuli is at the top of the trends this morning. We can also see guys are looking forward to the address by His Excellency President Kenyatta. Some leaders have also gone ahead to express their sympathy to the Tanzanian people and the whole African population as a whole. And looking at the international space, one of the first leaders to actually send sympathies to the Tanzanian population was the British Prime Minister Boris, where he just came out to reassure the Tanzanian people that all is well and they should take heart during this hard time. Doreen.
Yeah, clearly. And just again to also recap a bit of part of what the Vice President, that is Samia Suluhu, also said, is that Tanzania has lost a courageous leader. The Vice President said this through tears, just standing next to the national flag. And this again also comes at a time, as we talk about our courageous leaders, this is because of part of what formed his leadership and how he will remembered. He will be remembered, aside from just being a bulldozer, being hailed as a bulldozer rather, is also that bit of being courageous and standing by what he says. When you look at how he mentioned that political rallies need to be banned until the next election, when you look at how he did away with public servants, going to foreign countries rather, as well as different other things that marked his leadership. So clearly this is again one of the stories that we'll be focusing on, and just as my colleagues mentioned, as when the president speaks, we'll be crossing over there to listen to what he says. And also in addition to that, there's still something happening here in Kenya today, and this is in regards to the senatorial by-election of Machakos County, which is happening today to replace the late Kabaka, who passed on December 2020. And the two candidates who are being looked at mostly is the Wiper party candidate, that is Agnes Kavindu, as well as UDF Ngengele. This also comes at a time when the Maendeleo Chap candidate Katuku withdrew from this by-elections as of yesterday. But also what the IEBC mentioned is that they haven't gotten an official communication as it pertains to that. So it only means that Katuku will still be on the ballot, but how it will change the dynamics of the election, that also hasn't been put across. But clearly what is being watched at mostly is those two party candidates of the Wiper as well as the UDA. And also you can remember that at least also as of yesterday, the Wiper party candidate that is Agnes Kavindu was receiving backing not just from Jubilee but also from ANC, KANU, as well as the other several parties that she's rather getting backing from. So clearly this is also being looked at as that part of whether Kalonzo Musyoka being hailed as the kingpin of Machakos or the eastern part of the country, will he maintain or retain that seat or even retain that kingpinship of the eastern part of the country? So clearly these are one of those looked at elections, just as it was in Matungu and Kabushai. And also part of what has been mentioned is that they're keenly going to ensure that the same violence that was witnessed in these two other constituencies is not going to be witnessed on this specific one. So that is also part of what we'll be following up on you this morning.
Now, as we had earlier mentioned, we are in State House, and this is what is happening. We're expecting President Uhuru Kenyatta to address the East African community as the chairperson of the EAC. There you see, those are live pictures from State House there. This is, just coming after news of the demise of the 5th president of Tanzania, the late John Pombe Magufuli. State House.
Fellow Kenyans, we have learned with profound sorrow and indeed immense sadness of the untimely passing of my dear brother, His Excellency John Pombe Magufuli, President of the United Republic of Tanzania. On behalf of the government and people of Kenya, I convey our sincere condolences to the First Lady of Tanzania, Her Excellency Janet Magufuli, their children, the entire Magufuli family, and indeed affirm our deep solidarity with the government and people of Tanzania during this challenging time. Tanzania remains in our thoughts and our prayers. Africa and the world has lost an illustrious leader whose vision, passion, and immense leadership propelled the nation of Tanzania forward and also steered the East African community to closer integration. On the continental stage, the late President Magufuli was a champion of Pan-Africanism. In the passing on of President Magufuli, I have lost a friend, a colleague, and a visionary ally, whom I worked closely, particularly on our commitment to forge lasting bonds between Kenya and Tanzania. In honor of the life of His Excellency the late John Pombe Magufuli, and in recognition of his strong legacy, and in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in the United Republic of Tanzania, the wider East African community, and the whole of Africa, who are in deep mourning following the loss of an outstanding son of Africa. Therefore, I, Uhuru Kenyatta, under the authority vested in me as the President of the Republic of Kenya, do hereby order and direct that in testimony to the high esteem in which the people of Kenya hold President John Pombe Magufuli, the Republic of Kenya will observe a 7-day period of national mourning, and also that as a symbol of our enduring respect for the fallen president, as well as our solemn solidarity with the people and the nation of the United Republic of Tanzania, the flag of the East African community and the flag of the Republic of Kenya shall be flown at half-mast at all public buildings and public grounds and wherever else throughout the entire territory of the Republic of Kenya, and at all Kenya's diplomatic missions abroad from today, Thursday, the 18th of March, 2021, until sunset on the day of the funeral. May the soul of President John Pombe Magufuli rest in eternal peace. Kwa niaba ya serikali na wananchi wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, ningependa kurudia yale nimesema, kutoa rambirambi zetu kwa Mama Janet Magufuli, watoto wake, jamii nzima ya marehemu hayati John Pombe Magufuli, na kwa Watanzania wote kwa kuaga kwa rafiki yetu, mpendwa wetu, Rais John Pombe Magufuli. Nakumbuka kidhati mara nyingi ambapo tumeweza kukutana na kuongea kuhusu maendeleo ya nchi zetu mbili. Nakumbuka haswa safari yake ya kirasmi ambapo alitutembelea hapa Kenya, na pamoja na yeye tukafungua barabara ambaye tunaita Southern Bypass, na pia kwangu mimi binafsi akanipatia heshima kubwa sana kwa kusisitiza ya kwamba lazima atembelee mamangu Mama Ngina Kenyatta, na akachukua fursa kwenda kumtembelea nyumbani na kutoa heshima zake kwake. Na pia mimi akanialika nimtembelee kwake nyumbani kule Chato, na pia nikapata nafasi ya kumsalimia mamake na kuongea naye. Tukalala kwake nyumbani na tukaongea mengi kuhusu nchi zetu mbili na pia uhusiano wetu kama wanachama wa Afrika Mashariki. Nimempoteza rafiki, nimempoteza kiongozi mwenzangu, na nchi ya Kenya tumesimama imara wakati huu mgumu na wenzetu wananchi wa Tanzania. Nimepata nafasi leo asubuhi kumuongelesha naibu wa rais Mama Suluhu Hussein, na nikampatia pole zetu na nikamhakikishia ya kwamba twasimama pamoja naye wakati huu mgumu, na tutaendelea kushirikiana na yeye na serikali ya Tanzania pamoja na wananchi wa Tanzania mpaka tuhakikishe ya kwamba rafiki yetu, mzee wetu tumepumzisha, na tuendelee na huo msimamo alikuwa naye wa kuunganisha wananchi wa Afrika Mashariki. Twasema Mwenyezi Mungu amlaze pahali pema peponi na atupatie amani wakati huu mgumu sana. Asanteni sana.
That is President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is the chair of the East African community there, addressing the nation, and not just in Kenya, but also the East African community following the demise of the 5th president of Tanzania, that is the late John Pombe Magufuli, at the age of 61. Some of the take home is that going forward, is that Kenya has declared 7 days of mourning, where the flag of the East African community as well as Kenya is going to fly half-mast on all public buildings and, within the region, or rather the realm, and from today, the 18th of March, until the sunset of the day of the funeral. So, Jane, what are the take-homes for you in regard to the president's address this morning?
I appreciate the fact that he had chosen a very personal also approach to that address, just looking at how even their families were close, and considering Magufuli as we know him. We do not know him on a very personal level, but from what His Excellency has expressed in that particular address, he was a very accommodative man, progress, and always looking for ways to build on the relationships that are there, and especially with a fellow head of state who, of course, as you had mentioned, our governments had always been in business, just trying to see how we can both grow not just our individual countries, but also the East African space. And of course, also encouraging the now acting president, Ms. Suluhu, before she is sworn in as the first ever female president, for that matter, of Tanzania for the remaining term that Magufuli has left. given he only assumed office for his second term last year, and this term is expected to run up until 2025. Doreen?
For me, some of the take-homes just from what the president has mentioned is especially when he talked about development. We obviously know that at least good number of African leaders, that is part of what they want for African countries, and talking about the development of what at least they did in regards to that. So okay, right, fine. So clearly, you know, just talking about that, and also part of what he mentioned is that when the then president of Tanzania, that is John Pombe Magufuli, when he came to Kenya and they opened the southern bypass. Also, again, continue to talk about the relationship between Kenya and Tanzania. And also part of what he mentioned, which I think is a good take-home, is the continuation of right there. And also clearly that, again, is the... All right, Ray?
What you can see on your screen right now is the Kenyan flag being lowered in regard to the declaration and, you know, the declaration there and directive there by President Uhuru Kenyatta addressing the nation as well as the EAC in regard to the demise of the late president, the 5th president of Tanzania there. As you can see, this has just some live pictures from State House just paying tribute to a statesman who went to be with the Lord as Christians, refer, or rather say, at the age of 61, the 5th president of Tanzania, John Pombe Magufuli there. Paying tribute to the late John Pombe Magufuli, who President Uhuru Kenyatta has referred to as a friend and a champion of Pan-Africanism. Those are live pictures coming to you live from State House. And just a take-home is that the President Uhuru Kenyatta has announced the 7 days of mourning, as well as that flag, the East African community flag, as well as the Kenyan flag, to fly half-mast at all public buildings, as well as, you know, public areas and realms within our borders. And this is going to take place from today. As you've seen from those pictures, it has already been effected there from the flags that are flying at State House, the 18th of March to the sunset day of when the funeral is going to take place. Now, just also what the president has said there is that during the commitment to forge a united Tanzania, that is what President Uhuru Kenyatta has, you know, paid tribute, or rather eulogized the late John Pombe Magufuli as, you know, leaving a strong legacy there. An outstanding son of Africa. Doreen.
Clearly, and also as the president continues to, you know, hail him as the outstanding son of Africa, and just also bringing forth the kind of good relations they had, as well as the developments in which they were doing together as two leaders of the East, of both Kenya and Tanzania. And also part of what I was saying is that in regards to how John Pombe Magufuli came to Kenya and how they were able to open the southern bypass. And not just that, but of course there are also different other developments here and then. Again, also part of what the president has mentioned there is the unity that he was so keen on, and that also has been well demonstrated from his kind of leadership, which is what we have kept saying on and on again. He was a president who really wanted so much good for his people, and that is also part of what the president, you know, Uhuru Kenyatta has mentioned there, that in as much as he might have gone, that unity, we need to continue upholding that even as an East African community, at least to continue living forth and forging forward the legacy of the then John Pombe Magufuli.
Now, asking what next after, you know, the Vice President Suluhu Hassan is, you know, sworn in as the president of Tanzania. So many things are being said, especially on social media platforms. And we are walking to see, you know, a president, a female president taking the helm in East Africa. Well, some are saying that this is a first. I just want to take you a step in history. And we can say, well, substantively, then she will be. That is Suluhu Hassan. But remember, Sylvia Kingi was acting president of Burundi in 1993 before the late Cyprian Ntaryamira took office until the air crash in 1994. But for whatever lies ahead in Tanzania, I tend to think this Kenya is going to be walking that step. Remember, we are part of the East African community. Jane?
Yeah, so just speaking of what next, especially for Tanzania as they await the official swearing in of the acting president right now, Samia Suluhu Hassan, soon to be Her Excellency. Just looking at even her political journey, she came into active politics back in 2000, because I'm also seeing on social media, guys are wondering, They describe her as a soft-spoken person. She's always been in support of what His Excellency, the late Magufuli, has been championing for. And this is also one of the reasons as to why he chose her as her running mate back in July of 2015. And consequently, they did win the general elections that were held later that year in October and sworn both into office on the 5th of November of 2015. Continued with the first term, then they also had the second term they were re-elected last year, both as the president and vice president. And just getting a closer look at her, she is a woman of many firsts because looking at the time that she was joining politics, she joined as a special seat member to the Zanzibar House of Representatives, which was male-dominated, and she was one of the first females to actually be in this space. Moving on, later on in the years, she has been under the Ministry of Planning and Development as a clerk. This was way back before she joined politics actively. On a very personal level, she's also a mother of 4. So even when she was giving that, or rather breaking that news yesterday, you could see that she was clearly distraught. She was in touch with her emotions, but still held it together for the benefit of the population in terms of her being now the representative of the country. And she's also 61 years old. So as she is set to be sworn in as the first first Tanzanian female president, she was also the first Tanzanian female vice president. And as she waits to see through the next under 4 years that she will be president of Tanzania. Doreen.
Yeah, clearly, and also just becoming the 10th vice president of the United Republic of Tanzania. And just also a bit of her history, that in 2005 to 2010, she also served as the Minister for Tourism, Trade and Investment in Zanzibar, and also in 2000 to 2005, a Minister for Youth, Employment, Women and Children. So also she has a heart for young people as well as women, and this is clearly also part of what was being witnessed even as she was announcing the death of the President John Pombe Magufuli, because of her soft-spokenness. And also part of what is coming is that idea of being the first female president in East Africa. We still are waiting to see what, more of what especially political pundits might say, because again, it's a different sort of like shift and dynamics, just being the first female president, especially in this particular side of the African continent. But clearly, as it pertains to Samia, that is part of what her history is. And even as we await that swearing in, we still continue to give you up to speed with the recent and latest developments in that particular country. Ray.
Now, talking about the leadership in as far as, history of Tanzania goes, we've had an interchange in terms of religion. We have from Benjamin Mkapa all the way to Magufuli. We've been seeing there's been an interchange between a Muslim leader and a Christian leader. Now, Magufuli was a devout Catholic and Suluhu Hassan is Muslim. More dynamics into that particular, leadership history of Tanzania there. As we continue sampling some of the tributes that have been made towards, the late President John Pombe Magufuli, I'd want to read out what the former Premier Raila Odinga has to say in regard to the passing of John Pombe Magufuli. And I quote, "It is with deep sadness that I have learned of the passing of my friend, President John Pombe Magufuli. He and his family have been close friends for a long time. He's been by my side at my most difficult and painful moments. My condolences to his family and the people of Tanzania." That is how Raila Odinga chooses to pay tribute to a person, a statesman he has termed as a friend, and a friend indeed, having stood with him during his difficult moments in his life. I'd also want to go to a quote by the late John Pombe Magufuli, the 5th president of Tanzania. He says, and I'd want to read it in Swahili: "Siku moja mtanikumbuka. Na mimi najua mtanikumbuka kwa mazuri na si mabaya, sababu nimeyatoa maisha yangu kwa ajili ya Watanzania maskini. Tusibaguane kwa vyama, dini wala kabila." Words of the late 5th president of Tanzania, John Pombe Magufuli. Siku moja mtanikumbuka, na mimi najua mtanikumbuka kwa mazuri na si mabaya, sababu nimeyatoa maisha yangu kwa ajili ya Watanzania maskini. Tusibaguane kwa vyama, dini wala kabila.
Right.
Quite profound.
Yeah, clearly, and also beautiful. I mean, also this just echoes part of what the president was saying there in his speech, as he terms him as that leader who was more of unity. And also just drawing from what you're reading there, Ray, it again continues to bring that he was a leader who was more keen on unity and not political affiliations, not tribe, not religion, no nothing whatsoever, but just coming together in terms of unity. So when you hear the president mentioning that, as that we need to continue keeping up with that legacy, is simply because this is part of what described John Pombe Magufuli as a person.
Now, in standing in solidarity with our Tanzanian brothers and sisters, FKF Nick Mwendwa has announced the cancellation of a match that was set to be played between Kenya and Tanzania this afternoon. Just borrowing from what the president said, is that Kenya holds Tanzania and its people in high esteem. 7 days of mourning declared, the East African community flag as well as the Kenyan flag to fly half-mast beginning today till the sunset of the day that the late John Pombe Magufuli will be laid to rest. Jane?
Now, speaking of the tributes that have been trickling in via social media, I just want to read one here from one of the many quotes that the late Magufuli did say, and this one is in English. Our home was grass-thatched, and like many boys, I was assigned to herd cattle, as well as selling milk and fish to support my family. I know what it means to be poor. I will strive to improve lives and the welfare of people in Tanzania. The words of the late Magufuli. And there have also been so many other leaders, especially here in our Kenyan space, who have come out to also express their heartfelt condolences. And I'd just quickly like to pull up one of the tweets that I have seen, and this is from Musalia Mudavadi. And his office, I believe. It's in 2 parts, and it starts by saying, "It is with deep sorrow that I have learned the passing of President John Pombe Joseph Magufuli of the Republic of Tanzania. I stand in solidarity with the people of Tanzania during this trying moment." He goes on to say that may their constitution guide them through a smoother transition as they celebrate his legacy that was anchored on the war against corruption and strengthening the economy of Tanzania. Rest in peace, Magufuli.
Right, and even as we talk about, those messages continuing to trickle in from national leaders here in the country and even beyond, there's still, the same also just coming from different people here and there, and also just Kenyans as well. There's one which I found to be rather, it just really touches you as a person, and this is Newton, who says that he didn't die, but he joined the list of African great leaders, and he's given examples of some of the African great leaders there, the likes of Sankara as well as Gaddafi, which according to him says that were true Pan-Africanists. And also there's this other one from Samak, who says that I wish this country had a no-nonsense type of president like John Pombe Magufuli. He further on continues to say that his leadership has shown that development can be achieved. People interest first. And also this comes at a time when we're just looking at his leadership at that time, and also what he was doing for the people of Tanzania.
And also still keeping up with the socials. I don't know, Ray, if you've caught up to the latest trend, because Tundu Lissu is also top among the trending topics right now.
Yes, and there's a tweet he had put out, and I mentioned that when we were beginning this broadcast this morning, and I found it to be in bad taste. I don't know how people took it, and if you can allow me to actually just read it out, then you make those, you just pick.
Draw your own conclusions.
Draw your own conclusions. But I personally found it in bad taste, and it's on his official Twitter. He says, Mark Twain, the great American humorist and man of letters, reputedly said, I do not wish anyone dead, but I have read certain obituaries with great satisfaction. Like him, I too do not wish anyone dead, but I will write, not merely read, a certain obituary with great satisfaction.
Wow, you know, just looking at that tweet and the way you said, whatever, how you read it, however you interpret it, is entirely up to you. But again, it reminds me of how we keep saying, and also part of what what you read earlier on, Ray, in regards to that, Swahili quote, that mutani kumbuka. And all of us, and as in, we should just not be affiliated to anything, because it again reminds me, whether you are in bad taste with someone or whatsoever, at such a time like this, it is just a time to condone, because again, he has left behind families, he has left behind children, so all that happened should be put in the past. And we have witnessed that even this time when the former premier had tested positive for COVID-19, and the kind of message that DP Ruto had sent him. So I think, in such a kind of a time, it's just a time to really send condolences message and to be empathetic with the family, as opposed to such kind of negative kind of message there.
Dee, as we struggle to we are human, and at the end of the day, everybody is entitled to their own opinion, freedom of expressions. It is a freedom and a right for everyone. But of course, there's still those who are criticizing the Tanzanian government, and some of the tweets that I'm seeing here, they're just looking to see, or rather seek explanations from the Tanzanian government for insisting that the president was alive and well and working, and yet he was unwell. All they needed to do was just update the population on the actual state of matter, and at the end of the day, the truth will always come to light. But looking at this from a governmental point of viewing, I don't know what you guys make of this situation, because from what I'm seeing, people are torn between these two opinions. Why did they hide this information only to drop it at the last minute? And on the other hand, others supporting this move by the Tanzanian government to withhold information. And we are not saying that they withheld any information. This is as per what is happening on the socials, as we also send our tributes to the passing of Magufuli. This is on the trend, hashtag RIP Magufuli. People expressing their concerns, others going ahead to congratulate the now acting Her Excellency Ms. Suluhu, who is assuming office in acting capacity until she is sworn in. But of course, an array of mixed conversation, even guys bringing up the whole issue of the late Magufuli having refused the loan from China. Others acknowledging that he did not sell off his country. I mean, there's a lot that people have to say in regards to this fallen soldier. And at the end of the day, we all need to be responsible for what we post on the socials, because the internet will never forget.
Well, talking about the internet not forgetting, Magufuli's tenure has been quite controversial, and critics have come out, from all woodworks, let's say from all the woodworks there. Remember, he ordered an arrest of a comedian for allegedly making fun of his outfit. Remember how he has handled the media down in Tanzania. And I cannot help but wonder,
the gay community
what
as
next?
well?
Yes, what next for the media, for the media in Tanzania? So it's a mixed bag of emotions following the passing of Bulldozer, that is the late 5th president of Tanzania, John Pombe Magufuli. So many, mixed reactions, speculation, such and such. Some seemingly breathing a sigh of relief, given that, beginning of this week, confirmation is that among 4 politicians in Tanzania, opposition politicians in Tanzania, have sought asylum in Kenya, citing threats from government after inquiring after the health state of the late president there, John Pombe Magufuli. They're in the country. I don't know what is going to happen now that he's passed on. Are they going to go back to their countries? Well, we are yet to, find out what is going to happen. But what we know for now is that Kenya is in full solidarity and mourning with our Tanzanian brothers and sisters there, just from that presidential address there to the nation, as well as the East African community, given that President Uhuru Kenyatta is the chair there, saying and has declared 7 days of mourning in Kenya, and both the East African community flag and the Kenyan flag within Kenya's borders, as well as public buildings, and even our diplomatic offices across the world are going to fly those particular flags at half-mast. Away from regional matters or other matters of EAC, we will also be keeping tabs on what is happening down in Machakos County there, the senatorial by-election where we have 11 contestants for this. Remember, this seat was declared vacant with the passing of the former senator there sometime late last year. We have our reporter Kamcha Meza in Machakos County, who's going to be bringing us up to speed with what is happening on ground. We were expecting that Madam Kavindu will be, who the Wiper candidate will be casting her vote, or rather her ballot, at 10 a.m. this morning, and we'll be bringing you those live pictures from down there in Machakos County. This we're expecting to hear from an IEBC official to just tell us how the process has been so far. We have them online. There we go. There's the interview.
Some time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And now we see the light last night.
We having a bit of a sound hitch there that our technicians are working to rectify there. But we just, as I mentioned, we have our reporter Kamcha Meza on ground in Machakos County, where the IBC is conducting a senatorial by-election there. Remember, this is being held after the seat was declared vacant with the passing of the senator towards the end of last year. 11 contestants, one among them being the Wiper candidate, Madam Kavindu, who's been embroiled in a bit of controversy over the last few weeks or so leading up to this by-election. Earlier on, when we got our feed from our reporter Kamcha Meza, this is what she had to say at 1 hour after the polling stations opened up at 6 a.m. There was a low turnout, but IEBC officials on ground said that it's bound to change as the day proceeds. Now the voting was underway amid strict COVID safety measures there, sanitization of persons who are voting, proper donning of masks, hand washing and such, and also matters of security. Borrowing from what was happening in Matungu and Kabushai, it has been beefed up. You saw what happened in Matungu and Kabushai. ABC there saying that security has been beefed up, and political temperatures also have been toned out, and has encouraged members or the constituents of Machakos County to turn up in high numbers to elect their senator there. 11 to choose from. That is down in Machakos County. We'll be briefing you on the updates as we proceed with the day there. Remember, you can also get our further details in regard to these matters on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. In our subsequent bulletins, we are also going to be having Kamche coming up and just letting us know what has transpired since 6 a.m. to that point. It might be 11 or 10, so do keep it right here. The senatorial by-elections underway in Machakos County.
Now, still keeping up with what we are following up in regards to the passing of Tanzania's late His Excellency John Magufuli. I'm now seeing a lot of feedback coming in regards to the now acting president, that is Her Excellency Samia Suluhu, who is awaiting to be sworn in as the 6th president of Tanzania as she sees through the remaining term of the late Magufuli. And there's this one tweet by Juma Noah who says, "As we mourn the late Magufuli after taking a bow from this world, what inspires me the most is that East Africa gets the first female Muslim president in the world."
On that note, we cross over to Machakos County.
Polling station that we have visited very low. There are no queues Normally, we expect that such polling stations are trooped by, voters. There are long queues, people queuing to vote in their candidate. But as you can see, there is actually no long queue. The queues are very short, but security has been beefed up also here at this polling station. And we just spoke to the IBC or commissioner, that is Bolu Mayo, who is saying that all materials have been distributed to the polling stations in different sub-counties. There is no any material that is missing, and up to now there are no any issues that have come up. We also inquired from him about whether, when yesterday they told us about they have not received communication about the candidates who are said to have withdrawn. He said they still have not received up until now, so the names still remain on the ballot, and whoever will win in the evening, he will be announced as the winner. So basically that is it. This is the station again that I want to mention it to you, that we expect the Wiper candidate, that is the Agnes Kavindu, to be voting or casting his vote from this point. So actually we are camping here to wait for her to see what time she will arrive here to come and cast her vote. Then we will talk to her as well to get her side of this whole exercise. And then later we will also be talking to Abanas Ngengele, who is the party candidate for the party of UDM. Of course, the others we will following up with them as the day goes by. But basically that is it from here. There are no chaos reported. There is no any suspicion cases that have been brought forth. So we will keep our viewer updated from this side. Back to you in studio, Regina.
From that detailed report as to what is happening down in Machakos County, the low voter turnout, but IBC maintains that security has been beefed up and we are not going to have a repeat of what we witnessed in Kabushai and Matungu. Now, in as far as Good Morning Kenya is concerned, some of the developing stories that we'll be following up on is what is going to happen, or rather what is happening currently in our neighboring country, that is Tanzania, following the demise of the 5th President John Pombe Magufuli, as well as tonight, or rather this evening, Kenya is going to be arguing its case on the Kenya-Somali maritime dispute. So we will be giving you that and so much more as we continue in our next broadcast. So do keep it right here. I'm Regina Manyara, and I wish you a pleasant day ahead.